Hillary Clinton speaking out during a discussion on Homeland Security at USC, specifically on the lack of moderate voices, she says, are speaking out against Islamic extremists. The former Secretary of State saying the rhetoric of her Republican rivals, quote, plays into the hands of terrorists.
It's become harder and harder for moderate, reasonable voices to be heard. Think about it. The way you get eyes or ears is to be provocative, even extreme, to say things that are going to draw attention. That'll get you invited back, or that'll get you more, responses to whatever it is you're posting.
Let's bring in our media panel. Lynn Sweet, Washington Bureau Chief for the Chicago Sun-Times, and Kevin McCullough, radio host with Salem Media Group. Thanks for being here, both of you.
Good morning.
Lynn, what about her point? She seemed to be talking specifically about moderate voices in the Muslim world, but making a broader point about the campaign season overall.
Well, just in that sound clip, it seemed that she was addressing Donald Trump, not by name, and the enormous amount of free airtime he's been getting in this campaign, driven by his unpredictable and provocative statements. Yes, that's what it seemed.
Kevin, does she have a point?
She absolutely does. We've never seen, at least in my lifetime, I've never seen an election cycle that's been this toxic, this headline grabbing, this bold, this kind of advocating for punching in the face rhetorically and physically. We've gone beyond the pale in every respect.
But it's also a function of social media. I mean, everybody is carrying around a little receiver with them, and Donald Trump or whomever can instantly reach out and touch you, Lynn, with whatever you're carrying in your pocket at that moment.
Well, that's true, but I think that's another part of the story of political communication and what is the most effective tool in this campaign cycle. I mean, just think, a few years ago we thought email was the new thing. But it's not only what you use to get a message out, it's what you say. And I think that's the point that we're all talking about here, that when you say things that are inflammatory and provocative, you get more either eyeballs or clicks or retweets or whatever. Now, in this chaotic political season, the one who is the master of it is Donald Trump. Hey, just a few years ago, remember the term click candy? That used to be what anything that Sarah Palin would post. Would that get kind of attention? The difference is now is that it's in a much more, let me just say it, kind of a toxic political environment where you have this big Republican intra-party meltdown over Donald Trump.
And it comes in a week, when we've had these terrible attacks in Belgium, police activity still going on now. U.S. Special Operations Forces go in and take out the #2 guy in ISIS, we have just learned this morning. And the big spat of the week, or the big story of the week, seems to be about a couple of Republican candidates insulting each other's wives. Here's how Ted Cruz took it.
Let me be absolutely clear. Our spouses and our children are off bounds. It is not acceptable for a big, loud New York bully to attack my wife.
Why are we talking about that kind of thing, Kevin, when there are so many other important issues burning in the world right now?
Because the front runner for the Republicans is not talking policy. Lynn's right. Whatever we can make this screen blow up with, that's exactly what Donald Trump's become the master of. It's about marketing, it's about polish, it's about image, it's about not even telling the truth about his positions, because everything's negotiable. What Ted Cruz is saying is just responding. His wife was innocent of anything in the transaction, and of course he's going to come to her defense. But in the terror attacks themselves, Donald Trump the day before said, we got to pull out of NATO. Well, in light of the terror attacks in Brussels by a NATO partner, Ted Cruz tried to say the next day, this is really relevant. Almost immediately when the Super PAC released the ad, everything devolved into the discussion about the wives because of the nature of what the election campaign has become due to Donald Trump's presence.
A shiny object for the
wait,
media?
Hold on. May I just say, though, it is rather extraordinary that someone running for president has a spouse who has posed naked.
It is.
Okay, so
First time,
if you know that's out there, I don't think it should be a shock to the candidate in question that somebody is going to use it. You know, one of the things that Trump accused, but here's the point. It's how you respond. So by going after Mrs. Cruz's wife,
Heidi Cruz,
Heidi Cruz isn't necessarily the way Trump had to respond. He could have said, I'm proud of my wife. This is a part of her life. She's an independent businesswoman. And yeah, guys, pretty cool. But by going after a woman in the way he did, and being nasty and personal and going after looks,
an innocent party to the transaction as well.
In our
the super PAC, having a super PAC use those news photos is about as predictable as as each minute passing.
In our second hour today, we're going to be talking about a problem Donald Trump seems to be having among female voters. We'll get into
wonder why?
that. Well, we'll get into that in our second hour
today. Just a shock.
All right, Lynn, Kevin, thank you both.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.